Hello friends, welcome once again to our Ionic tutorials. In this video today we are going to be learning a new thing. We're going to see how we can send emails from our Ionic application directed to a Gmail account or inbox. On my device I've launched this application. Okay, now let's test out our application and see how we can send email from Ionic to Gmail. So after that, then I can click send. Our message has already been sent. So this is a default message I added into our PHP script that will be sending emails. Okay. In this video we'll see how to set up Gmail. We are going to use Gmail as our mailing server to set up our SMTP configurations. Okay, so this is our application, a simple Ionic application that we are going to first design this interface, then we will go and download this PHPMailer service that we are having here, and here is a sample file that we are going to be using in our project. So that having said, let's dive into command line and see how we can install and set up our Ionic project. And don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet, like and share this video. Okay, now we are in our terminal here. In order for us to set up our Ionic application, we need to install some dependencies, and one of them is Node.js. In this video I'm not going to install Node.js, but you can visit the website and then download Node.js on your system. This will install packages like npm, which we will be using to set up our Ionic project. Okay, you can also then run npm to install Ionic SDK in your system. If you have not yet set up Ionic, please visit my video. The link is on the video there. See how to set up Ionic on your respective system. For this case, I assume you've already set up and installed Node on your system. So we'll go ahead and run this command to install Ionic project. Okay, we need to run this command. Ionic start. We specify the project name, which is going to be messages with Ionic. Okay, that is our project name. And this command will present us with the different frameworks that we can use with Ionic. Remember, these days Ionic was previously built on Angular, but then Ionic 4 and onwards was built using web APIs, which allows us to use different frameworks for our development. Okay, using web components, and web components is a collection of different web API. That's why we are able to use React, Angular and Vue frameworks. But in this video I will go ahead and choose Angular as our framework, and then here you will be presented with different startup templates that you can use for your project. Instead of starting from ground zero to set up your project, Ionic provides us with different templates that we can use to save time. Okay, but in this video I'll decide to use the blank template, and it will ask us if we want to integrate our template with capacitor. Okay, so if you are not going to be using capacitor for your project, you can decide to say no, but in this project I will say yes, since I'm going to use capacitor. Okay, so this will download the different dependencies for and setting up of our application. Good, so the application has finished. For us to access our application, we can just go ahead and cd change directory, messages, like so. All right, now our application has successfully launched into our VS Code. Okay, so we can go and enable terminal here into our VS Code. You can just go ahead and run Ionic. Okay, we have we are saying that Ionic Lab isn't installed, so we need to install this Ionic Lab. So what we are going to do is and say yes. So this will run and install Ionic Lab onto our project. All right, now our application has successfully launched, and this is our blank template that we have installed, that we are going to use to create our project. So if we go to a source folder, we have our application folder inside here, and this is where we have all our application pages that are going to be stored. This is our asset folder. Okay, so I will go ahead into our home page. I will open up our HTML page. Go ahead, close that. And now inside here, this is our default template that is created. I will delete this header, we don't need it in this application. And then I will go ahead also and delete this, but we'll remain with our container here. I think we will not need this also. Save. So let's style up our container here. I will go to style, just write down here. Remember, this is the default style that comes with the template. Okay, I will not remove that. I think what I will do is delete all this. So I will have ion content, and then I'll give it a background of that color, and then let's check into our browser. Good, so this is our background color. All right, and inside here I will start up ion card, and inside our ion card I will put ion list. We can save. I think also we need to style for this ion card. I think we'll put background transparent, and then yeah, that will be okay. So let's go to ion list. So ion list will give it the same background, and then we will go inside our HTML back here, and we'll create a container here, which will be a div, and we'll give it a class. We'll put input container. All right, so inside our input container we'll create ion label, and we'll give it a class of input label. Put a title like username. Just below our ion input, I will add ion item. So inside our ion item, we'll put ion input, username, and type will be text. Yep. And we'll come here and give it a class of rounded, because we want to add rounded borders onto this ion item. Give it an ID of that, and then alright, so let's style out our ion label and ion item. So here we'll start by ion label. Yep. Okay, we'll align our text left, and then we'll put margin top will be 10, and font size we'll use, and then color will be that one. Yep, so that is our iron label. Then let's go and style for our iron item. So inside our iron item, background of transparent. This container is centering our text, so I'll go ahead, delete that, save. Good, so here we are having our text right there. Okay, now what we can do is let's define this class. Alright, so it will be hash container and then hash rounded corners. So we'll give our rounded corners width of 100%, and then we'll specify a height of 50 pixels, and then we'll add those styles. We'll give it margin top of 10 pixels, and then the shadow color will be that one, and our rounded borders will be 10 pixels. Alright, I mean border radius. Yeah. Okay, let's save. Nothing has changed. This is rounded. We need to give our iron item a border, and we'll specify border 1 pixels solid. So I'll paste in that color for our borders, save, and let's see what we have. Good, so that is our iron item. Okay, good. So what we can do is I'm going to duplicate this for the rest. I'll put here username, email, and then we'll have here user email. right, this is what we are having, but we are having columns. Are they columns? No, they are rows. Let's have like 10, maybe 5 to 20. Yep, something like that. All right, so this is our form, and we can go ahead and duplicate still this. Yep, I think let's go and style up this. So we'll copy this ID right here. We come down here and say, okay, now we'll give our background that color, our button. Then we'll text align center, and also we'll give it a color of white, that one. Okay. Let's come to our input container. So this input container, will define it here hash container, and then can give it margin top of 10 pixels. Save. Let's see what we're having. Okay. Save, and let's see what we are having. So we are having this is supposed to be yeah, it's a class. Yep. All right, so let me remove this from our button. I think we'll come right down here and remove this label. Yeah, I think we can also remove that. Save, and let's see what. Good. So this is our form. Okay, and it's type on date, put in email that, then username that, message that, then we click send. All right, now we have finished creating our form. So we are going to see how we can capture these different input values. Okay. All right, so let's dive into our VS Code and see how to get these elements. But before we do that, let's go into our TS and define our object that is going to hold that input data. So after setting up our object, we can then go ahead in our HTML here, and then instead of username here, We are going to pass in user input. All right, so that having done, let's go ahead and add up an event listener here. So we'll add in on click event. Send mail function. All right, so let's go ahead in our TS file. Now in our TS file, I'm going to define this function right here. Oh, sorry, we used user mail data, not user input data. Sorry for that. Sorry about this. It was supposed to be user mail data, not even this one is. Yep, like so. Okay, so that having done, let's go here and save. Let's head back to our page here. Let's click inspect for us to see what is happening. Okay, now I will go ahead and put my name here as Isaac, and then my email will be ionic@test.com, and I will select the date, and I'm testing here right now. Okay, then let's try to send. Good, perfect. Now our object is capturing all the details that we need. Okay, so now our next thing is to go into our local server. Okay, on my system I installed XAMPP, so I'm using XAMPP as my local server. Okay, you can choose what you are using. Okay, now I will go into my XAMPP folder, http docs, and inside here I will go ahead and create send mail. So we can come here into our VS Code, come here, and then let's open that folder. I will go direct to my applications, then inside my XAMPP folder. This is my server folder, htdocs, and here we go. Okay, then I will go into this folder. VS Code will ask me if I trust this. I will say yes. Okay, so inside here I will create a file and call it sendmail.php. So inside our sendmail file, I'll go ahead and initiate PHP. This is how we open and close tag in PHP. Okay, now inside my file, I'll go ahead and create an if statement and provide a condition here, and then else do something. After creating that condition there, so now I will go ahead and pass in my first condition. I will say if the username has been submitted. This is how we create input values in PHP. Okay, So $_post, then you pass in the data value, okay, that you are trying to get. Alright, so if that is set, then I will go ahead and create my variables here. Actually, I will first console log errors, so I say error log. This is the function that prints error logs to error text log file that is always found on your server. In our case, since we are using our local server, so we'll be using PHP error log file. Alright. Then here I will create my first username, which is equal to that. And what you need to know that in PHP, we declare a variable starting with a $sign and then the variable name, and then we assign it a value. But for our case, we are requesting a post request. The way we create requests in PHP, we start with a $_ underscore and then the request parameter, either a get or post. But for our case, we need a post request. So we'll specify post, then we pass in our data name. Copy this, duplicate this, and this will be alright. So now if there is a post of username, this will be printed, but before that we will need to check if we are executing, if this file has executed. So we'll just pass in here so to test out this, I can just inside here right click and let's just go to our tab here, and I'll just put in localhost, send mail with Ionic. Okay, then this will bring us this file. When we run it, we don't see anything, but we need to go into our server log file and see how we can get those errors. So if we come back to our XAMPP server, inside our log folder, you see that we have access log, error log, HTTP, and PHP error log. So what we need is this error log, which is created right down here. So I'll go ahead and open that with I will select all applications, and then I'll open this file inside a browser. Okay, good. So you see we are sending mail by PHP file, so we have that log being printed out, so we know that our file is working as expected. Okay, so if we don't have if this is not true, we'll go ahead and print also log file here, and we'll say no data params found on this server. Alright, so that having executed, let's go back into our project file. So I'll just minimize that, and All right, so now inside our send function here, I will create a constant here which will be link, and then inside our link I'm going to come into our browser here, copy this address here, come into our file, then paste it there. Okay, so now since we are using our local host to send mails, we can't specify localhost like directly like so. We need to specify it by the address that we are using to connect to the internet. Okay, so I'll go into my Wi-Fi and go into preferences. All right, then copy this IP address, come back to our project, and I'll replace localhost with that. Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and also install HTTP onto our project. So I'll go into files, enable the terminal right down here, and I will run npm install at Angular, then HTTP package. Okay, so we are going to use this to be able to send mail to Gmail. All right, so our package has finished. Then we can go into our app.mod.ts file, and inside here where we define the different modules, we can add HTTP module, which is right here. Then import that file like so. Okay, so if that is finished, then we can come back here to our project. Then here in our constructor, HTTP import HTTP package, yeah, like so. All right, so now inside here we just say this dot HTTP dot post, and then inside here we'll pass in our link, and here we'll need to pass in our object, our data object. But before we do that, instead of sending this directly here, we'll first stringify it. So what I will do is create another constant here and I'll say post params it will equal to JSON dot stringify, and then just inside here we'll define our username, and then say this dot user mail data dot username. All right, so meet again in the next video. Bye bye. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet. Like and share this video